A pleasant day to everyone. For our lesson, we will talk about the introduction to business finance. For this lesson, you're going to understand and also to have an idea and to analyze what are the business finance, ano po ang role and also the objective of having this course, even the financial management, and also we were talking about the approaches to financial management. We also have the three major decision and financial management, and also we're going to identify some of the factors affecting earnings, even the stability of earnings, stability of dividend and growth, and also the opportunity. And for the last, you student also will identify and also realize about the factors affecting the nature of a business in terms of our finances. Now, what is business finance? We talk about business finance is that these are the business activity which is concerned with the acquisitions and even the conservation of capital funds in meeting financial needs and also the overall objective of a business enterprises. Bakit po napaka-importante malaman ng mga owners natin or ng mga businessman natin o yung mga kapitalista natin kung saan sila kukuha ng kanilang kapital? Okay? Napaka-importante nito para po maiwasan nilang magkaroon ng mga uncertainties, no, in terms of their financial status. And also, kapag po meron na sila nito, mas magfo-focus sila, no, sa mismong operation na ng business. Why? Because it's already funded. Meron ng availability, meron ng sources. Okay? Para po mapagtaunan na ng pansin ang kanilang business. Okay, they can focus immediately to their operations. Meron tayong dalawang type, no, ng business finance or in terms of financing. Una po is we have the equity. So pag sinabing equity, ito po ay nanggaling sa mga investors, which is later I'm going to expound it. And also, besides sa equity, meron din tayong tinatawag na debt finance. Kung sinabing debt finance, by the word debt, ay nanghihiram tayo or umuutang tayo para po magkaroon tayo ng kapital. And next, we have here the objectives and the role of business finance. Why we need to lend money, no? Bakit kailangan natin manghiram? Siyempre, para po meron tayong pagdagdag doon sa ating kapital. Okay, so pag nadadagdagan ng kapital natin, ang tendency, if we do a lot of strategy on how can we sell our product, mas lumalaki po ang probability na mas lalo pong lalaki ang ating kita or ang ating profit. The second objectives or the role of a business finance is to maximize wealth. In maximizing the wealth, this is the concept of increasing the value of a business in order to increase the value of their share held by its stockholders. So this kind of concept requires a company's management team to continually search for the highest possible returns on funds invested in the business, while mitigating any associated risk of losses. So this calls for a detailed analysis of their cash flows associated with each prospective investment, as well as constant attention to their strategic direction of organization. So ulitin natin, bakit po napaka-importante ng business finance para po mas lalong lumaki, no, ang value ng mga share ng ating mga stockholders. Third is we have the economic value added. So pag sinabi natin economic value added, this is the incremental difference in the rate of return over the company's cost of capital. In essence, it is also the value generated from funds invested in a business. So if the economic value added measurements turns out to be negative, this means that the management is destroying the value of the funds invested in the business. It is definitely essential to review all of the components of this measurement. Bakit? To see which areas of a business can be adjusted to create a higher level of economic value added. If the total economic value added remains negative despite of all attempts to enhance it, meaning the business should be shut down. so that the underlying funding can be reinvested elsewhere. Kaya po, napaka-importante ng business finance para po matutukan natin ang economic value added ng ating businesses or doon mismo sa kinapital ng ating business. And also, we have to focus on stakeholder. Balikan lang natin, ano ba or sino ba yung mga stakeholders natin. Pag sinabing stakeholders, these are any individual or group or party that has interest in organization and even the outcome of its action. So, commonly, ang mga example ng ating stakeholders are the customers, employees, investors, suppliers, communities, and the government. If we have efficient and effective business finance, napakadali na lang pong trabahuhin or napakadali na lang pong i-manage ang ating mga stakeholders. Next, we have here the ambiguity. When we talk about ambiguity, this how a businesses can be more certain in making decision in terms of their finances. Once we talk about timing of benefits, nangyayari po ito kapag po lesser yung nagiging capital natin. Okay? Ibig sabihin yung puhunan natin ay hindi ganun kalaki. Pero in the long run, pag tumagal po yung panahon, or let's say, you still in the business, okay, you have the stability and so on, yung kinapital mong mababa na yon, mas malaki po ang pagkakataon or mas malaki po ang tsansa na hindi lang po 100% yung pwede mong kitain doon sa mababang kapital na iyong pinuhunan sa simula pa lang. And also, we have here the financing and also the investment decision. Ayan. Kailan po tayo nagkakaroon ng tamang desisyon? No? Kapag po tayo ay kinakailangang mangutang, syempre we need to consider the interest. Kaya ba natin bayaran? Through that interest, kailan natin pwedeng maibalik? Okay? Kahit po ba may interest, kikita pa rin po ba ang business? So, yan po ang tulong ng business finance. Another concern, we also have some of the methods of financing. Marami po ito. Marami itong pwede natin pagpilian. Marami itong naka-offer. Yan. Na kung saan ikaw ang mamimili kung ano ang suitable, no, sa business mo na kailan niya kayang bayaran or let's say, ano yung mga terms, no, na pwede niyang gawin, okay, para po yung pagbabayad natin o yung pagbabayad ng utang ni business ay hindi mabigat para sa kanya. Next, we have here the financial management. So when we talk about financial management, this is a broadly concerned with the acquisition and also the use of funds by the business firm. So time to time, lahat po dapat ng resources na binibili or ina-acquire na business, it must be maximized. Na ma-maximize ang use niyan, ang paggamit dapat niyan ay hindi masasayang. And regarding with the financial management, meron tayong tinatawag na financial planning. So in this planning, napaka-importante nito. Bakit? Kapag po, like for example, we are doing such building, ganyan, or gumagawa tayo ng infrastructure, ganyan. Napaka-importante po na meron tayong plano. Okay? Kumbaga, may blueprint. Yan. Sa financing, ganun meron din. Meron tayong blueprint, no, in terms of financial planning para po malalaman ng business kung ano po ang magiging return ng plano na to, no, in the future. Okay? Paano po ba makakatulong yung planning na ito? Why we do planning? Kasi po may objective, no? May objective or may goals sa business na gusto niyang makuha. So that's why the businesses need to have a financial plan para po maiwasan natin, no, yung mga pagkulang or let's say hindi naging productive kasi nga po kulang yung resources, yun yung mga iniiwasan natin. So that's why in businesses, no, napaka-importante po ng financial planning and wala namang pong negosyo ang hindi gumagastos, no? Lahat ng businesses ay may gastos yan. So dahil magastos ito, no, at kailangan nating makuha ito or ma-earn ito or bumalik ito, we need to have a certain plan. Next, in financial management, meron po tayong two approaches. First is the traditional and the second one is the modern approach. First po, once we talk about traditional, normally ang ginagawa before, they are just arranging the funds from lending body. And also, yung fund o yung capital na ginagamit ng mga businesses ay nagkagaling sa mga different financial instrument. Okay? So, it's either sa bank yan or sa lending yan. And another concern in terms of traditional approach finding out the various sources of funds. So hindi lang po yan lending, hindi lang po yan when it comes to banks and so on. Marami pa pong pwede, no, pagkunan, no, tayo para po magkaroon tayo ng capital. We have the government, yan can help us, no, to fund our business idea. And in terms of modern approach naman, okay, the difference is that in modern approach, they need to conceptualize everything. They need to analyze everything. No? They have a certain framework in terms of their financial decision making. Hindi lang sila utang ng utang. In modern approach, okay, the businesses need to analyze kung yung kanya po bang inutang ay magiging favorable sa kanya in the future. Ibig sabihin, okay, dahil dun sa kanyang inutang, mas lalong magpa-prosper, mas lalong mag-maximize ang kanyang profit, mas lalong mag-maximize ang kanyang wealth. Okay, so doing the modern approach, yan, it's not just about saan mangungutang or sino man ang papautang. No. Okay, so kung ano man yung inutang na yan, they need to maximize it. They need to have a proper allocation for that in doing decision. Next naman po, we have the three major decisions in financial management. Una po, we have the financial, second, the investment, and the third is the dividend decision. First is the financial decision. So, napaka-importante na maging matalino tayo kung paano tayo mag-decision, no? Kung saan, papaano, no, tayo makaka-acquire ng ating fund para po sa ating magiging business. Bakit? Because the firm tend to profit most when the market estimation of the organization's share expand, and this is not only a sign of development for the firm, but also it can boost investors' wealth. Okay, so in terms of financial decision, may mga factors tayong kailangan intindihan. Una po ay cost. Yan. Bakit po cost? And financing decisions are all about allocation of funds and cost cutting. So the cost of raising funds from various sources differ a lot. The most cost-efficient source should be selected. Another thing, no, in terms of financing or financial decision, we also need to consider the risk. Bakit? Lahat naman po ay may risk, no? Lahat naman po ay may danger. So the danger of starting a venture with the funds from various sources differ. Larger risk is linked with the fund which are borrowed than the equity fund. This risk assessment is one of the main aspects of financing decision. Another concern in terms of financial decision is what we have, the cash flow position. Pag sinabing cash flow position, ano po ba ang earning na business in a day-to-day operation? Okay, kailangan natin yan ma-consider. Is it good or bad? Okay? Yung cash flow po natin, it can give us confidence na mangutang pa, or it also give us discourage, no, na mag-ask pa ng investors to invest our business. And then, another concern again in terms of financial decision is the control. In every situation where existing and investors needed to hold control of a business, then finance can be raised through borrowing money. However, when they are prepared for the living control of the business, equity can be utilized for raising funds. How much control to give up is one of the main financing decisions. Paano mo makokontrol, okay, ang iyong kapital? Saan mo siya gagastusin? Ayan. Do you have a certain limitation? Okay, when you buy a certain things or you buy a certain materials or let's say machines or let's say you acquire a certain asset. So may mga limitasyon tayo, no? Na part ito ng control. And another concern in terms of financial decision is the condition of your market. Okay, sino ba ang target market? Ano ba ang condition yan? Napaka-importante po nating malaman. Bakit? During the boom period, the issue of equity is in majority, but during the depression, a firm will have no use left. These decisions are important part of financing decision. So tingnan mo, kaya ba ng market mo i-avail yung product mo? Kasi kung hindi, there's a possibility that you cannot earn profit. Okay? So you need to know the condition of the market, not only about your target market, but the entire economic status. Okay, like for example, anong utang ka kasi nga nagkaroon ng pandemic. Tapos, there's a possibility na tumaas na naman yung case. So, pag tumaas ang case, what will happen? So, we can have another protocols again na kung saan maaapektuhan ang iyong business. Okay? So, we need to understand or we need also, no, to analyze, no, to conceptualize what happened in the market. Next is we have here the investment decision. So pag sinabing investment again, the investors or the businesses ability, no, to have a capital budget, okay, sa kanyang business. These are the company's assets and also the resources that are rare and must be put to their utmost utilization. So a firm should pick where to invest in order to gain a highest conceivable return. This decision relates to the careful selection of assets in which funds will be invested by the firm. So lahat po ng firm, they need to put their funds in procuring fixed asset and even the current asset. When choice with respect to a fixed asset is taken, it is known as a capital budgeting decision. Ngayon, doing the investment decision, ito po yung mga kailangan nating intindihin. Okay, ito po yung mga factors, no, na posible meron sa ating magiging desisyon. Una po is the cash flow of the venture. So, kapag po ang isang organization ay nag-start na siya sa kanyang pangangapital, no, automatically, no, they need to invest huge capital to start. Even so, the organization expect at the least some form of income to meet everyday or day-to-day expenses. Therefore, there must be some regular cash flow within the venture to help it sustain. Okay, so kaya po ang mga product ng business dapat meron itong iba't iba, no? Merong variety. It's either mahal, mura, different prices, different product, different flavor, different style. Lahat dapat merong variety. Okay? Bakit? Kasi nga po, in terms of our investment, okay, dapat po masusustain or let's say kahit pa paano, no, dapat may pumapasok, no, na pera sa business. And also, we need to consider in terms of investment is the profits. Magkano ba kikitain, no? The basic criteria for starting any venture or kahit anong negosyo man ang maisip mo is to generate income. But, moreover, the profits. Magkaiba po ang profits at saka ang income. So, the most critical criteria in choosing the venture are the rate of return it will bring for the organization in the nature of the profit. Like for example, kailan siya maibabalik? Ayan. Ilang percent ba? Do you have a certain percent of markup? Let's say 30% of markup. Ganyan. So, dapat meron ka palaging tinutubo. Okay? Meron ka dapat palaging markup kung tawagin. So, lahat po ng ventures o lahat po ng ini-invest mo, example, you have your product A, product B, o kung ilang mang produkto yan, you need to set up a certain markup. Okay? Para po magkaroon ka ng tinatawag na profits. And then, okay, in terms of investment, meron tayong mga criteria. Okay, so the different capital budgeting procedures are accessible to a business that can be utilized to assess different investment propositions. So above all, these are based on the calculation with regards to the amount of your investment, magkano ba ang interest rate nito, how's your cash flows, and rate of the return associated with proposition. These procedures are applied to the investment proposal to choose the best proposal. So lahat po ng business idea, okay, para po ito mas maging visible, ayan, kailangan na may mga criteria tayo. Okay? Let's for example, your criteria is about the adaptability of that product to your market, or let's say adaptability in terms of pricing ba, in terms of packaging ba, in terms of the product itself, in terms of the services itself. So lahat po na ginagawa nating investment, it must have criteria. And then for the last decision is the dividend decision. So pag sinabi naman pong dividend decision, it relates to the distribution of profit. Ibig sabihin, divide yung profits earned by the organization. So the major alternatives are whether to return or hindi nakikialaman, no? Or hindi kukunin muna yung iyong profit. Ayan, so nag-return, no? Yung earning. Or gusto nang kunin ni shareholder. So pag gusto nang kunin, we need to distribute. Now, in dividend decision, okay, we have also things to consider. First is the earning. When we talk about earnings, okay, these are the return to investors that are paid off of the present and the past. Consequently, earning is a noteworthy determinant of the dividend. Okay, magkano ba kinita? Paano ba natin paghahatiin? And what kind of percentage ba? So, depende yun. Siyempre, kung ano po yung naging investment, no, ng ating mga stockholders or ng ating mga investors. Another consideration is the dependability in earnings. So, in dependability of earnings, an organization having a higher or let's say stable earning can announce higher dividend than on organization with lower income. Okay, bakit? Kasi po, yung kanilang income, syempre, nakadepende doon kung magkano po yung po pwedeng makuha ng mga stockholders or depende po kung magkano yung pwede nilang i-return. Okay, or yung return income, yun din po yung pwede nilang maging investment ulit. And also, we have the balancing dividends. Yan. Kailan po nagkakaroon ng balancing dividends? For the most part, organization attempt to balance out dividends per share. Kaya po minsan, may makikita kayo, bakit pare-pareha sila ng share? Okay? So, there's a tendency na binabalance. Ayan. So, a consistent dividend is given every year. A change is made if the organization income potential has gone up and not only the income of the present year. And also, we have the development opportunity. Okay, so the organization having a great development opening if they hold more cash out of their income to fund their required investment. So the dividend announced in growing organization is smaller than that in a non-development companies. So marami pa tayong factors na kailangan natin i-consider kapag po nagbibigay tayo ng dividendo. Okay? So una dyan, syempre yung cash flow, kamusta ba ang ating day-by-day income, yung shareholders choices ba natin, okay, lahat po ba ay favorable or hindi. So kailangan din natin consider yung kanilang choices. And also, we need to pay taxes. Kasama din yun. Kamusta naman po ang stock market? No? Kamusta naman po ang value ng ating business sa stock market? And also, we need to have an access to capital market. And even yung mga contract and some of the legal constraints. So, ito yung mga bagay na kung saan kailangan nating i-consider. Okay? Kasi malaki po ang magiging effect nito once we do a decision. It's either parts of the financial, it's either part of our investment, or it's either part of our dividend decision. Next, factors affecting earnings is stability of earnings and even the stability of development and growth opportunity. So, ito po yung mga yun. Una po is the fixed and working capital. Pag sinabi natin fixed capital, ito po yung hindi mo na paulit-ulit na babayaran. Kumbaga, isang bagsakan lang. Okay? So, like for example, you buy a certain machine na cash. So, that is fixed. Fixed capital yun. Or let's say, nag-acquire ka ng land. Or let's say, bumili ka ng building. Ayan. So, that is fixed capital. Okay? And also, we have the working capital. So, pag sinabing working capital, magpo-fall ito sa variable. No? Variable cost pa. O pabago-bago. No? Yung kinakailangan ng capital natin. Bakit? Kasi po, everyday, meron tayong cost. No? Meron tayong kailangang gastusan. Alright? And then next, ayan, we have here the instruments of finance. So, when we talk about instruments of finance, saan po ba manggagaling ang ating funds? So, una po is own. Pag sinabing own, it's either galing ito doon sa mismong may-ari or let's say ito po ay galing sa mga investors natin. Nire-retain lang nila yung kanilang dividend. Okay? So, another thing is the borrowed. Ayan, nangungutang sa bangko o kaya sa mga financial institutions. Hindi lang sa. For the last, we have here the factors affecting nature of business. Una po is what we have, the scale of operation. By the definition, ang scale of operation is the size of business operation measured by the business maximum output. Ibig sabihin, gaano ba kadami yung na-produce ni business. When a business are able to scale their operations, this means that they are able to handle a growing amount of work or sales in capable. And also, they become more cost-effective. Okay, bakit? Kasi nga, konti lang yung pinuhunan pero madami ang naging paggawa. Madami ang naging kanilang output. Another thing is we have here the choice of technique. So once we talk about technique, these are the different strategy na ginagawa ng business para po mas lalo pang ma-maximize ang kanilang profit. Alright? And also for the last, we have here the technology upgradation. So pag sinabi upgradation, time to time, ayan, para po mas lalo maging effective o mas lalo pong maging efficient ang ating paggastos. No? sa ating mga resources, much better po to invest in technology. Why? We all know naman na ang technology ay talagang napapagaan or napapabilis, no, ang ating operations. Alright? So, technology not just about the machine but also the system, no, na ginagamit ng mga business. And that's it. Thank you so much for listening. Have a nice day, everyone. Goodbye.